That's no grave for a mum. Ma. He managed that much, and then fainted into the weedy scrub that grew behind the barn. Suddenly I was holding the dead weight of my murdered wife all by myself. I considered putting the grotesque bundle down, its wrappings now all askew and the slashed hand peeking out, long enough to revive him. I decided it would be more merciful to let him lie. I dragged her to the side of the well, put her down, and lifted up the wooden cap. As I leaned it against two of the stakes, the well exhaled into my face, a stench of stagnant water and rotting weeds. I fought with my gorge and lost. Holding on to two of the stakes to keep my balance, I bowed at the waist to vomit my supper and the little wine I had drunk. There was an echoing splash when it struck the murky water at the bottom. That splash, like thinking "Right cowboy," has been within a hand's reach of my memory for the last 8 years. I will wake up in the middle of the night with the echo in my mind and feel the splinters of the stakes dig into my palms as I clutch them, holding on for dear life. I backed away from the well and tripped over the bundle that held Arlette. I fell down. The slashed hand was inches from my eyes. I tucked it back into the quilt and then patted it, as if comforting her. Henry was still lying in the weeds with his head pillowed on one arm. He looked like a child sleeping after a strenuous day during harvest time. Overhead, the stars shone down in their thousands and tens of thousands. I could see the constellations, Orion, Cassiopeia, the dippers, that my father had taught me. In the distance, the coteries' dog Rex barked once and then was still. I remember thinking, this night will never end. And that was right. In all the important ways, it never has. I picked the bundle up in my arms, and it twitched. I froze, my breath held in spite of my thundering heart. Surely I didn't feel that, I thought. I waited for it to come again. Or perhaps for her hand to creep out of the quilt and try to grip my wrist with the slashed fingers. There was nothing. I had imagined it. Surely I had. And so I tucked her down the well. I saw the quilt unravel from the end not held by the pillowcase, and then came the splash. A much bigger one than my vomit had made, but there was also a squelchy thud. I'd known the water down there wasn't deep, but had hoped it would be deep enough to cover her. That thud told me it wasn't. A high siren of laughter commenced behind me, a sound so close to insanity that it made gooseflesh prickle all the way from the crack of my backside to the nape of my neck. Henry had come to and gained his feet. No, much more than that. He was capering behind the cow barn, waving his arms at the star-shot sky, and laughing. Mama down the well and I don't care. He sing-songed. Mama down the well and I don't care, for my master's gone away. I reached him in 3 strides and slapped him as hard as I could, leaving bloody finger marks on a downy cheek that hadn't yet felt the stroke of a razor. Shut up. Your voice will carry. You're there, fool boy, you've raised the goddamned dog again. Rex barked once, twice, 3 times. Then silence. We stood, me grasping Henry's shoulders, listening with my head cocked. Sweat ran down the back of my neck. Rex barked once more, then quit. If any of the coteries roused, they'd think it was a raccoon he'd been barking at. Or so I hoped. Go in the house, I said. The worst is over. Is it, Papa? He looked at me solemnly. Is it? Yes. Are you all right? Are you going to faint again? Did I?